Look at that. All right, we're back. We got to get some music going. Come on, Cal. What are we, total amateurs here? Okay, so we are back at lovely or bucolic Landmark Layton, Northbrook/Northfield, Illinois. Are we in Northbrook, Pete?
Technically in Northfield.
We're in Northfield, sorry. Just want to make sure. My name is Sean Albrecht. We're back with the Cabin Fever Open here at Sunset Ridge Country Club. And the 2003 edition, by the way. And I am joined by, which is just a treat for me, and I mean that sincerely, guys, because it sounds like I'm being facetious, but I'm not. By two gentlemen who, not only participants, but just legends in the area right here. Peter Burka, who is the director here at Sunset Ridge Country Club, and Noah Seidenberg. And Noah's one of our longtime sponsors. Can I say that, Noah? Is that okay? I can just say long time.
Sure.
Thanks. See, this is why I'm so glad I don't have Cal on the mic anymore. Anyway, Pete, the guys that you played, either you played these guys or you know the guys that you're seeing right now on the screen. You want to give us a few introductions for who
sure.
we see out there, by the way?
Yeah, no problem. We've got in the blue here. We've got. They're deciding on probably who's going to serve first there. Andrew Ong, who lives in Chicago but originally from Ohio. And then we got his partners Tom Murphy from Indianapolis, Indiana. And and then on the far side, Rob Bacher, who is in the gray, no hat. And he is from Cincinnati, Ohio. And then Ben McKnight in the black hat. And the ad side from
the legend,
originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but lives
Ben,
in
don't call me Brian.
Illinois. So they've been upsetting teams, Bacher and McKnight, kind of throughout the tournament. And can they pull another one? An upset, one more upset, and they win the whole thing in the 2023 Cabin Fever Classic men's final. Here we go, first point.
Already a lead cord. Nice touch.
Yeah.
Come on, he's just.
So Tom Murphy is I think the way he'll play at the net with his touch, and Andrew Ong will come with the spins. Tom Murphy's going to come with the touch and the playing close to the net, stuff volleys.
Also got some heavy ground stroke, does Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Big forehand, actually a nice topspin, one-handed backhand, Pete.
That is correct. Yep.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Tom's going to be looking for his forehand. Andrew Ong looking for his backhand.
Sit. There we go.
All right. 15 all, just like that.
So the safe spot for Bacher McKnight is dumping balls, soft balls down the middle.
Yeah, they're going to.
Up. Beauty. Well, I got to tell you, we watched the semis. And what I mean by that, by Andrew and Tom's semifinal, and they really didn't miss a ball, guys. It was a 1-1. I mean, I don't want to call it a drubbing because even and this is a no-ad scoring format, so I don't want to call it a drubbing, but it was still a pretty impressive display of some shot making. So if they're still rolling, it'll be an interesting contest.
They're coming in. I mean, if you just look at the scoreline, they're coming in fresh.
You bet.
They won every match in straight sets. They didn't give up more than, maybe 3 games in any match. They are probably the fresher team. Doesn't mean that's going to be result in them being the winning team. But
exactly.
I do think that that Ben and Rob are they're right
touch.
there. There's that touch. Ong's going to have the spin. Murphy will have the touch.
So Tom Murphy, I know, is coming a little sick today, too. He wasn't shaking even his hand because he was sick, and they want to get him sick. So it'll be interesting to see if that bothers him as the match progresses.
Yeah.
I think the other interesting thing is, Rob Bacher used to play at a very high level of paddle, but I think this is his first tournament. He played in about 4 years, isn't it?
Yeah, he has not played for, I don't know the exact number, but I know he's been off for a few years. And he's such a good athlete playing soccer at Xavier and growing up in the Netherlands, and he's getting it done today.
So he can shake off the rust pretty quickly, probably.
It's not even obviously the cardio and the endurance to be able to play this late in the day and this long of a match.
Yeah, I think one thing we
Nice
want
dig.
to mention, and I'm sure, Sean, you might have already mentioned it,
Sure.
is the format. This is a
Yeah.
no ad,
Uh-huh.
meaning when it gets to deuce, whoever wins the next point wins the game. That changes a lot. It changes the way you play a 40-30 or a 30-40, right? Because
Unquestionably.
around the corner there could be a deuce point
Yep.
and a chance to win the game. Or lose the game if you're up 40-30.
Then you find yourself playing more conservatively,
Yeah, maybe.
Noah,
Sure.
you guys-
At a 40-30 or 30-40
or
for
just
either side.
because it's no ad period, I would imagine. though.
Yeah.
And the closer you get to that score, I
Yeah,
would
your
imagine.
loosest points will be, or freest points, however you want to look at it, will be 40 love, and maybe a 40-15,
Yep.
maybe a 30 love. I mean, that's really your loosest point. But I don't think that you could. I know people could argue that, hey, if you're up 40-30, you have 2 game points, right? You have the 40.
Technically,
so
yep.
why not burn? You can burn one.
Sure.
But I don't know if you want to get your self into too many no ad points. You just
Yeah.
don't.
Just because you have one to burn doesn't mean you
Exactly. You
need to burn it.
use
Sure. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
interesting thing about the format too was, we're getting started with the finals here. It's been a long day, but it's just before 6 o'clock. But you kind of wonder if you had a more traditional deuce scoring, and we might not be starting finals till 8 o'clock tonight.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, a great point. I do think that, and one of these players mentioned it in the final. They said, I can't remember who, but they said if it wasn't
No ad.
a no ad, I wouldn't have anything left for this final.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that it was, I do like that there is a tournament on the calendar that allows the players to prepare for that ahead of time, knowing,
Sure.
hey, I got to go in mentally.
Well, kudos to the
know it.
director.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Give full credit to Peter Burka and
That's
Brian
right.
Panic for organizing another great event. Is this 4th year, 5th year?
This is, well, as far as how many years the tournament's been around, it's 4th or 5th year.
Yeah.
As far as Sunset Ridge, this is our 2nd year in a row doing it. And, no, we've loved it. Brian Panic has done a great job. And him and I have worked together organizing it. And then, we got Hut Commander, Mary Kate working there. And so we've just been able to
Sure.
kind of add some layers to it that try to make it feel, like something people could come back to year after year.
It's obviously an interesting time to have it the week. It's always the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
It's always a Wednesday, I think,
It is.
too, right?
It is.
So you have a lot of people that are out of town, and you have a lot of people probably with family at their house that they're looking to get away from and looking for something
Right.
to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to see. We've had last couple of years at least, we had out of towners. I know
Yeah.
Mislav Kolak and his partner came from Jersey to play this year. I think
Wow.
last year
I
Tomas
think that
Christian
fit.
and Eric West came in from Philly and Cincinnati. Had a couple of Cincinnati people here today too.
Sure.
We have Rob Bacher. We got Danny Carolla came in from Cincinnati. So
That's right.
it's great to get out of towners in for this too.
And
So McKnight and Bacher broke first game, right? 1-0. And
Wow.
up 15 love. Was that ball wide? That first ball was close.
it looked good there. That was a great question, by the way. It looked
I don't know
good.
what they decided.
I think it's kind of hard not to call it good, only because it got by and they didn't make an immediate call, one of those. But it looked good from where I was standing. Not that big a deal, but no, it's a great point about the relatives. I mean, all I'm doing is really helping out with the audio, and I had to get out of the house for sure. My wife had no problem with it for some reason. So, sure, whatever you got to do.
It's a 3-day tournament. Okay, seems unusual, but
By the way, so Tom's got this, Tom Murphy's got this kind of line drive slice, I want to say, I don't want to call it a passing shot, but just a passing shot attempt that he will pull off every so often, and he just mashes the daylights out of it. So it's funny to me. There's that topspin one-hander I was talking about. But he will hit it hard. Like, that was the volley version of it, really. But it's always amazed me how hard he can actually hit a slice and still keep it in.
Yeah, I think Murphy and Ong are going to look to mix in a fair amount of blitzes. And it's going to be Ong as the blitzer, and
Sure.
it's going to be Murphy setting it up with his offense. And it'll even sometimes be Ong himself blitzing his own shots.
Sure.
And he moves he's such a
really
great
well.
mover.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I think that, one difference is, as you look to dissect this, I mean, this is game point. Here's your 40-30 we talked about. Game point for McKnight Bacher. And your dump zone, they're going to look to dump down to the Andrews forehand. And I always say that that's like one of those shots that could be a difference maker. If, let's say Andrew starts hitting it, he starts looking for it, and he's winning points off it, you take one less safe spot away, and now there's more pressure, in all the other areas.
That's a great point. No question about it. And also the right pace down the middle.
Yeah.
Because, you hit it a little too hard, you can maybe even get a screen drive out of it, even though from what I heard, and this is just from somebody talking to him, and I think I eavesdropped because, let's face it, I got no friends. Nobody's going to be talking to me about it. But the idea is that I know that he doesn't like to drive his forehand off the screen as much as he does his backhand side. So, yeah, as long as you don't hit it too hard, he's probably not even tempted to do that. So,
And scoreboard pressure is something, everyone knows the phrase, but it's going to matter here. So I'll give an example. If this goes 2-0 and you're down 2-0, are you going to really want to try to implement your forehand into it? If you're Andrew, you're going to go with your strengths at that point to try to keep yourself in the match. So
no, you're undoubtedly, that's a real good point too.
So it looks like this is a no-ad point.
Yep.
Right? This is huge no-ad point.
Big forehand. There's that big forehand we were talking about.
So let's keep track of that, by the way. So we got one no-ad game. It's, in favor of Ong. I just think in this format, it's going to be a difference maker. And Tom Murphy, ice water in the veins, comes up with a big forehand to win the point.
That's like the cover of Sports Illustrated. As soon as Peter said that, he missed a volley.
The commentary jinx. Good hands from Ong.
Can we give full credit, though, to Tom Murphy? A super nice guy.
Oh, gosh.
He gives old fat guys everywhere the hope because he cat-like moves. For a guy that size, he moves really, really well.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I don't care what someone looks like. I mean, you got to respect.
Oh, yeah.
You got to respect the player.
For sure.
But I mean, all of them, everybody on the court, no matter what they look like, at this level. Yeah, he's a great athlete.
Yeah, and as I said before, just some surprising pace. That's a heavy kick serve, by the way. Super.
So I was fortunate enough to watch these guys live when they played in Baltimore. I think it was the Charm City Open. I think it was 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they played really, really well there. They ran into kind of a buzzsaw of a new team of the Spanish guys coming up that people hadn't really heard of yet. Albi Regalado and Jose Salazar, and they lost to them, but they
was that Murphy Ong lost to him?
Yeah, Murphy Ong lost to him in the finals. In the I knew that question was coming, and I don't remember. I want to say it went 3, but it wasn't really that close at the end of the match. But Tom and Andrew tore through the tournament up until that point. They played really well, just good, consistent, like you talked about, mistake-free paddle.
Yeah.
It was really warm that day, though. I mean, it was in the high 70s, I think, that day, and so you just had a really
that makes a factor.
Ball.
That's definitely
for sure.
Gosh,
great shot.
If you can hit your drive by a team and hit the nick at the same time, that's double whammy.
Yeah.
Did anybody work on that?
That's tough to come back from.
My favorite is when they request to work on it. That's my favorite. Can we work on the drive to the nick?
Yeah.
Sure.
So obviously Tom Murphy took the first no-ad point. Who's going to take no-ad points with Bacher and McKnight, would you think?
So I think that's a great question. No, I thought you were going to ask. Okay, I'm going to answer both sides. So I think it's going to be Tom Murphy every time.
Sure.
Because you can have Andrew blitzing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Plus you have the big return.
Right. So exactly. Great combo. I think on the other side, I don't know the answer. I mean, if you overcook one to Ben McKnight's corner in the ad, he's going to smoke it.
Right.
Rob's got a great forehand. I don't know the answer there. Obviously we'll probably find out here.
Let's get a quasi-tomahawk there.
So, Peter, maybe you can talk about what did you guys do with that today? Were you consistent with having the same person return every no-ad point, or did you change it up based on who was serving?
Great question. I went exclusively to Jonas. I think on every one, I think it was 15 for 15 or whatever it was for the day, 20 for 20. Because he returns so great out of the deuce, and I can blitz a forehand volley coming out of the ad. I don't want to take that away.
You wouldn't even change that regardless of who's serving from the other team?
The only scenario where I think about changing it if someone kept faulting to me.
Sure.
And that happened occasionally, but not much. And it wasn't enough to say, like, let's, you know what I mean, let's change this. But I do want to talk a little bit about strategically these early games, because I think the first 4 games of any match, it doesn't tell you the whole story, but it'll tell you a lot of the story, and I think it can determine more than you think. So
Sure.
So you have a no-ad game that Murphy wins to make it 1-1, but then he gets broken quickly, and he's down 2-1, but look what happens the other way. Now Murphy Ong have break point to get right back to 2-2. So not a lot of holes kind of out of the
box.
Yeah,
no.
right out of the box. There's not a lot of holds. And I do feel that this is cold enough weather to have an expectation that you should be holding in this weather, right? The colder it is, the more expectation you have should be for winning it.
And it's just going to get colder as the evening progresses. It looks that way, and from the
Exactly.
I'm
keep dropping. I agree.
So this was, though, the perfect day for paddle, I have to think, right?
Oh, no, 100%.
I mean, when else do you wake up in the morning and go, it's 40 degrees and cloudy? What a great day, right? It's a great day for paddle.
Not a lot of wind.
Like nobody else other than a paddle player says,
preset.
oh, that's a fantastic day.
Totally.
It was there. I guess there was sun early, right? Maybe from
tiny bit,
like 8 to 10, but that was it.
Yep.
And there wasn't as much later.
No, it was a great day for paddle. No wind, reasonable temperature.
I mean, I think, if you're Bach or McKnight, you love the start of the way this match has gone, right? You're up 2-1, even though you're facing a break point and 2-2. This is exactly what you needed. You needed this start. You have a very fresh, Ong and Murphy team. That shot in the last round, we played them.
Yeah.
And Tom hits a great roller to that corner. He can snap it so quickly, keep it low, dying in that corner.
Yep.
And Noah, like you said, it's going to get colder. That ball's going to stay lower. That is a so what Bacher and McKnight have to decide is, do you want to lob down the line? Because when Tom's on the right and you lob down the line, he's going to look, if it's anything short, he's going to look to roll that into that corner.
Sure.
So you have to decide if that's the best lob placement or lob spot for your team. I don't know.
I also noticed Tom will not always serve over his head. There are times where he'll just kind of change it up, especially in this type of weather, I would imagine. Sorry, I just get distracted. I think everybody did. On that shot.
Oh,
well,
did that catch him too?
Yeah.
Did it hit the body as well?
No, it
just
kicked
all
towards
Nick? All
the
right.
deuce.
That's big.
That's such a good return by Rob Bacher. That is just...
You haven't seen Andrew come out with the big backhand yet today, although they haven't been.
Well, they haven't given it to him.
Right.
I think there were a couple serves, Noah, early that they did give him to him. But, sometimes when you serve backside and they go to rip, if you took all that time as the server to get on top of the net, go ahead, drive it. I'm going to make it. You're not going to get on my feet, right, if you're camped out in the net.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can get away with that. It's more during the point that an overcooked backside is a little bit more dangerous when you hit that to the ad.
Well, yeah, and I think you're right. You probably need a big lob to get some space off the net to have an opportunity to be able to hit that well,
cover.
too.
I agree, Sean. Great cover by...
Yeah, there was. Even though they lost the point, there was just real good anticipation by Tom. The other thing I noticed also with Andrew, he's got, and I always say it because, of course, my backhand was nothing to write home about, but especially my one-hander. But Andrew's one-hander is better than mine, and I have a one-hander, and he's got a 2 technically. So his screen drive's better. His one-handed screen drive is outstanding. I noticed that about certain two-handers, yourself included, and Pete, now that I mention it, just not to pump up both your balloon, maybe you too, Noah, but anything like off the screen, a one-hander, sometimes I see some two-handers have great one-handed screen drives.
That's, oh gosh, Rob Bacher, great shot. I would say this, Sean, I would say it depends on, one versus two is up to the player.
Oh, yeah. No, I just noticed that it's a
meant.
two-hander. No, I just noticed that the option is nice. I don't have that option. I was never talented enough to hit either one of them real well, but the point I'm trying to make is I noticed that some of these two-handed backhand players have really good one-handed screen drives. That's maybe the point I was making.
Yeah, well, I think they're forced to develop that. I think the first thing I would look for is if someone's two-hander's so good, but I can get them to reach.
Yes.
And they can no longer get their left hand or second hand on there.
Sure.
And they got to go one, and their one is not hurting us. Well, then
Great
that's Tom Murphy at his best.
Yeah, that's
right there.
a signature move for him at the net.
Yeah. I mean, if he outright wins 15 times at the net like that, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
That's something that has to be taken away.
It is interesting the way that. Oh wow.
Just missed.
Uncharacteristic. It's interesting
So is this,
the way that.
sorry, another no ad? Oh, he's pointing. This is another.
Yeah,
okay,
this is
I
another
think this is a
no-ad point.
huge swing point.
Yeah.
I know it's early, 2-2. I didn't mean to cut anybody off. I think huge swing point here.
Well, we
I
have the
think-
answer to our question too. Ben McKnight's taking at least the first one.
Yeah,
for them.
exactly. Yeah. So here's the thing. I'll ask you guys the question. Which team is this more important for? Who needs this point more than the other?
I'm going to say Ong and Murphy.
Okay.
That's and of course I'm saying that just to throw it out there.
My vote is McKnight. And
Why would you
agree.
say?
I agree.
So why
I
are
think,
you telling me?
I
Go
think
ahead.
I think they need, well, only because Rob Bacher and Ben McKnight had to play, probably logged more hours on the court and more
I see what
sets.
you mean.
And that's not their fault. They had to do that to win it. I think the fresher team, in my opinion, is at the net right now. And I think to stay mentally engaged, the more you're winning and you're ahead,
Right.
and you're going to stay more mentally engaged. The more you're down, right? It all happens to all of us. The scoreboard matters. And
Yeah, that's
that was
true.
a good look by Ben McKnight, though.
Well, and I
Great
think
look
on
right there.
paper, obviously,
liked that he took
Ong and Murphy are favored as well, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, based on seeding, I mean, these are four great athletes.
Sure.
I mean, if you want to say based on seeding, are they the favored? Sure. Yes. Based on them buzzsawing their way to the final, sure.
Yeah.
But McKnight and Bacher are a very good team.
Oh, for sure.
Very
Oh,
good.
absolutely.
But I'm not saying you're not.
No,
you're not
but I
agreeing
think
with that.
for both those reasons, that and the fact that again, to your point, they played a long match earlier. I think you don't want to play that
Speed.
long match and then have to try coming from behind
Right.
for
Exactly.
your next match.
Exactly.
Well, here's why I said Ong Murphy. Okay, because Tom hit that big forehand at that one no-ad point to win it. And if you can almost kind of reinforce it, where if you do it once, it's like, okay, we got away with one. You do it again at a tough point, it's more like, okay, these guys are pretty rock solid when it comes to a no-ad point. That's
Right.
the reason why I mentioned it. Because sometimes it's a matter of supporting, and then that's a psychological factor or issue.
Right.
I grant you that. But that was the only reason why I said that. Because sometimes I'll just tell people, hey, look, if somebody's going to hit a great shot once, that's fine. You mentioned it before. You're able to repeat it well, and then we have a problem now. Because
Right.
they're able to do it on a regular basis.
Exactly.
That's the reason why I mentioned Ong and Murphy.
Yeah, I think I think at this point, that was the second no-ad game, right? So we've had two,
Right.
no-ad points.
Right.
And so it's two for the far side, right?
Oh,
nice
that's
shot.
Sick
That's
touch
just filthy.
from Bach.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
Didn't even see that coming.
No, I didn't even think that was possible.
Rob Bacher,
Putting on a clinic.
filthy. That's so good.
There it was.
That's that one-handed screen drive I'm talking about.
Oh, he caught him.
Did he get
He
hit?
got him. I
Yeah,
think he
he
got him
tagged
just
him.
off the back.
But I think again, it's nothing that Andrew. This used to be a play. I can name 5 guys I used to do this to playing back in the day. Where if I knew if I could serve the ball backside,
Yeah.
and they wanted to drive, go ahead. I was going to plant my. I'm going to be on top of the net.
Right.
And I'm going to take my chances. I'm not saying I'm going to win every time. I'm not saying I'm going to make every volley. But I'm going to say statistically that will work for me.
Right.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the problem was the next shot, right? Because I think the volley was short,
Yeah.
and then he ripped it, and I think that's what happened there.
Yeah, you're going to wear the next one.
Yes.
Well, I do. Well, as big as I am, I wear a lot of them. I've got bruises all over.
So, interestingly, at least 3 of the 4 players on the court are not tennis professionals or racket professionals.
Oh, that's a good point.
So
If that is indeed the case, I'm just trying
Tom Murphy, what's his background? I actually don't know. You're right. I know that.
Tom is a sales guy for Stryker. He sells medical devices.
But did he?
that right?
When you say not a tennis guy, but did he
Not
grow?
a tennis professional.
Tennis professional,
Not
like
doesn't
a
do it
teaching
professionally.
pro.
like
Okay,
teaching
but he
pro.
played maybe college.
Oh yeah, so
or-
Tom played at Dayton.
Okay.
Tom Murphy played at Dayton in
and
the
then
blue.
Andrew
Ong
Ong played at
Duquesne.
Duquesne.
And Rob Bacher, I don't know where he played.
Well,
he played.
I'll
soccer.
tell you this: Bacher and McKnight played soccer.
Right.
Right.
That's
Bacher played
interesting.
soccer at Xavier.
And
Ben
Georgetown.
McKnight, Georgetown.
So do you have to give
I like
the classic Ben McKnight story the claim to fame? About
The athlete of the year.
absolutely.
Yeah, he beat out Allen Iverson for athlete of the year.
It's,
At Georgetown.
you got to
At
write that on the
Georgetown.
write that on the
No, that's a
tombstone.
big deal. That's a tremendous
For
deal.
sure.
I mean, well, is Allen Iverson in the Hall of Fame? Or
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Is he?
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
So there you go. He beat
First
out
ballot.
a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, the answer is there was no question after about maybe 2/3 of the way through his career that he was going to
Oh
be there,
yeah.
even without a championship.
So Rob, I know, was in the mortgage industry, but now he took over Eric West's job at. I'm drawing a blank on the club in Cincinnati, but Rob is now a rackets director there at Eric West's old club in Cincinnati.
All right, so that is 40-30. Okay, so you got 2 game points here,
Yep.
McKnight and Bacher. All right, let's see if we find any conservative play by McKnight and Bacher, only based on the score and the
Yes.
format. That's
Yes.
it.
Right.
Like, would you say, I don't want to play a deuce point, and so I'm going to play this more conservatively? So I'll give an example where what's conservative in paddle. You have an opportunity to hit a cut winner. Do you maybe pass it up? Because you're like, I don't want to do that. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Wow. So I think Ben McKnight closing the net,
Yeah.
I think Andrew Ong
Caused that,
sees
yes.
that, I think causes that error possibly.
No, that's a real good point. Sometimes just psychologically you can.
I feel like that was a little bit of a must game. I mean, it's sports. Anything can happen. But I do feel like 3-3, 4-2. Getting some early feel.
Little wide,
It's
close.
I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I just think now you can play a little more free if you're McKnight and Bacher in the backcourt.
Oh, nice.
Came over that. Almost looked like it was out of his strike zone, but he was still able to
Ben's
muscle it
such a
back in.
big, strong guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he
that was
just
impressive.
He doesn't have to do much to get that ball
No.
by anybody.
dropped off
I
the
like the
table.
fact that he came right back after missing the last shot to come right back and
That was a good point.
hit another good backhand.
No,
for
yeah,
the winner.
you're right. Yeah.
Yep.
You talk about playing conservative versus
Oh, yeah.
not. I mean, that wasn't the conservative route. Worked well for him there.
It was a nice serve from Murphy.
Yeah, that is good
That
serve.
thing takes a big left turn. Oh, yeah. He's lining that thing up.
That's a good move to back up.
He's dig. Tell you what, Ong
And-
just has some afterburner speed,
Oh
man.
yeah, he's one of the best diggers in the game.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he can. You think you won the point with a cutter
Exactly.
in the corner or crease, and he's making you play one extra ball.
Being 27 years old or whatever, either doesn't help too, right?
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you're
hurts.
right. You're right. Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, he's
Oh, there's that one
missed
hand we
one.
talked
There's
about.
the one
he's
hander.
human. Good. Okay, thank you.
Big
Hadn't missed one up to that
3-all,
point. I think.
30-all, big point.
I got to tell you, I'm surprised that you haven't seen any effects from that last match from Bacher McKnight. As long as that last match was going 3 sets and 3
Yeah,
long
exactly.
sets.
You don't. But also remember, the start of any match, the first set, right? You're going to get someone's best shot.
Cashing him a
So
little
if
bit,
you're
yep.
Murphy Ong, you're like, let's just deal with their best shot. If you're Bacher and McKnight, you're like, hey, we have to make it happen in the first.
Let's cash it. Yeah.
Well, because
A little.
and everybody would think the same. You want to stay engaged. Your tank has been hit, maybe a little bit, and you need to have success in the first set. Because do you really want to lose the first set and then have to win two more of these grinding sets? No, you want to get off to a great start, and even if you drop the second, you can re-engage in the third. That's how important that first set is.
No, I totally agree.
So who do you think, if it does start to slow down a little bit, and it hasn't really been a slow play so far, but if they do start to slow it down like they are here on this point, who's that favor more?
Well, I think it's, again, I think it's Murphy Hong. I mean, it's got to, right? Your tank is
Sure.
pretty, feels good. And
Yeah.
you're like, if I had to play a 3 hour, I could do it. You know, it's paddles, unfortunately, however you look at it, is so much based on, it's a fitness contest sometimes. Some people say it shouldn't be. It is what it is.
That would
It's
explain my success, Sean.
Undoubtedly. I don't think there's any question.
That's why we lost all 3 matches
Nobody-
today.
The other thing I was going to mention is when you slow it down, I always tell people, look, they're slowing it down from the baseline, and they're slowing it down, and you're the team at the net. And sometimes, hey, if we're going to slow it down, I'd rather be up here than back there, or vice versa. So sometimes that's a factor as well. There are some teams that are just better at slowing it down from the baseline than they are slowing it down from the net. And I think I agree with Pete that in this particular formation, I would probably have it favor Murphy and Ong.
Right.
Because they, like, for that reason.
Well, there's an example there,
Yeah,
right? Like,
for sure.
Rob's not running that down. And understandably so. He saw the cutter. It was going to be short, save energy.
Yeah.
Because even if you get to that, you lob it up, you're going to play for another couple minutes.
Exactly.
Like that cutoff right there, I love Rob Bacher cutting off that forehand into that corner. It's a great move. You don't have a ton of spots to go on Bacher and McKnight. You have to be really. That's a good move by
love this
Andrew.
move,
Great
yeah.
move. Forward is good.
Yeah, if you
Always
start,
want-
you're good. So I'm sorry, Pete. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, if you're in the backcourt, forward works. I mean, if you can cut balls off and shorten time, reaction time from your opponents, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, and I noticed that a lot of players do this. They will not actually try to take advantage of like a anticipated waterfall overhead, try to take it on the rise and maybe drive it, and until maybe a little later. And I noticed Andrew will just kind of study a little bit, see if he can figure it out when that's going to happen, try to anticipate it and read it, and then he starts to give it a right.
My last 2 matches of semis and quarters, I love hitting overheads off people's waterfalls, but I had 2 guys that wanted it. They wanted me to do it because they were going to do something, try to do something with the shot I'm hitting. So I had to just lob that ball, and I'm like, gosh, that's such a sitter. But it is what it is, and you know this.
Actually, if I hit it like you hit it, I would try to hit it overhead off everybody, and you got that shot down.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite shots, but it's every match is different, right? You take what you get on the other
Absolutely.
side, and there's that. See, I almost think it looked like Ben was almost trying to bait Andrew into that,
Yeah,
right?
sure
and then
did.
stuffed it into a corner. He wanted to do that. Oh,
Hey,
that's a
there's some nice
huge
depth
point, by the
on
way.
that
Wait, okay,
box
wait.
volley
Is this
there.
a no-ad point?
I believe it is.
So
Is he pointing? Let's see.
Oh,
There's
that's
another one.
interesting.
Okay.
Rob's taking this one because Ben took the last one.
Did he really? Okay.
Way to track that down. Bach moving back to his left like that. Not an easy shot. Backing up, giving him some room for that.
This is.
Oh. Bad luck. Bad dates. Okay.
Is that a missed overhead?
Yep, just off the top of the net.
Off the top of the net
So,
and wide.
The tape, so
Wow.
I just averted my eyes to the live version of that point for a second, and yeah, I mean, if you're McKnight Bacher, this is setting up exactly how you need it to.
Absolutely.
Murphy Ong can still win. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying that if you were starting this match out and you're McKnight and Bacher, you wanted to start out exactly like this. You're up a break. You're now serving. Worst case, even if you lose this game, you're on serve. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Great drive, Tom Murphy.
Yeah, Tom Murphy can be a problem serving too. He can be a problem.
So, what are the shots you think that each player is looking for? You know, we talked about Murphy's forehand. I mean, I happen to think his forehand volley, his forehand stick volley is a big weapon too. And obviously Andrew Ong with the backhand. What do you think on McKnight and Bacher?
Well, I start with this. I say any player you hit to, their make rate matters. So if I hit to a strength, well, I need to know that you're going to make it 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. If I think you're 5 out of 10, I'm not worried about it. And so, and some people might say, well, at this level, that's why they got there. Well, no, there's no guarantee on that day in those conditions that they're going to give me a high percentage, because they could be off. They may, who knows what happened the night before? Maybe they didn't eat for 4 hours. Like there's so many variables that could happen. So I would need to see a make rate that tells me I don't want to do it. Now you're going to default to what you know about somebody, right? So we're going to take Andrew's backhand, Tom's forehand, Ben McKnight's backhand, right?
Bacher's forehand definitely is a weapon.
Those are the 4 shots you're going to take. If you don't know anything else, you're going to take those 4. But if you all of a sudden realize, that's a great move. There's the speed of Andrew Ong getting it done. But so what you're going to do is you're going to take, if there's a variance in their success rate, well then you'll exploit it and you won't care. You'll be like, okay, I can go to their non-strength and I can go to their strength because their make rate isn't very high.
Sure.
But there's one other variable we haven't talked about is the patience.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's patience has a time limit, but you don't know what it is, because you can say, okay, well, I know this person's patience level going into the match. Okay, well, on that particular day, what if they decide to be extra patient?
I think that last shot was a perfect example of that. That was kind of a little shot clock for Andrew, which usually doesn't.
Yes, it felt a little bit that way. Yep.
Yeah.
So McKnight Bacher, facing another 40-30. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it seems like every game's been 40-30, 30-40, or the no-ad point.
Right.
Yep.
And that's just the way, that's sports. The margins are thin. Margins are super thin.
Well, every time I got beat 0-0, guys, I would always say that every game went to deuce anyway.
Right.
It was closer than that, though.
Yeah. Score didn't indicate.
That's right.
You know, it's funny, I played junior tennis and I played college tennis and probably had a super small cup of coffee on some pro tournaments when I was younger. And I never used the line like, hey, every game went to deuce.
No, I
didn't hear it till I started teaching when I was like in my late 20s and 30s. I'm like, every game went to deuce. You can say that? That's true? That's a thing? Like people will say that's okay?
The Series 27 guy?
Yeah.
That's the justification.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying it can't be factual. It can. You can actually have every game go to deuce and still lose.
Just the laws of averages probably not that great.
Right, exactly. If you get killed, the chances are not every game necessarily going to get
Well, one of the other top 5 lines was the calls were a little iffy.
Right.
Yeah, right. My 0-0 drubbing. Yeah, sure it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, the sun was in my eyes.
It was the call.
Yeah.
The guy had just made bad calls the entire the entire way through.
Yeah, my partner, he ran out of gas. You know, there's a million of them, right?
You could use the net height. I understand that the courts were being checked for net height in the last match.
Net height matters, everything.
That's right. The world-renowned Jay Woldenberg checking net heights and during his match against Bacher McKnight.
He is excellent at that.
Well, he's got his reputation precedes him.
There's no. Pete's funny you mentioned that we were talking about just lines you'd hear, just whether it's just racket sports. One of them, and I brought it up because I saw this gentleman the other day, and he's a good guy, but we didn't know each other when we played each other. It was still on tennis court. and it's a first-round match. And it was a men's tournament. It wasn't even a junior tournament, but I used to hear this in the juniors all the time. Are we going to play 2 rounds tonight? If you say it in front of your opponent, it's kind of a psych ploy, like, hey, that means I'm pretty much going to wipe this guy first round. You know what I'm saying? So I did hear that all the time. So I get to this match, and I'm a seed, which was funny because usually I wasn't. And I played this guy, and you could tell he was waiting for me. I walked up to the counter, and he just said, "Are we going to play 2 rounds tonight?" And I just started to crack up, like, man, I haven't heard that since like the 14s. It's hilarious. Yeah.
So not to change subjects back to that point though, Sean. Sorry.
No.
That was a missed screen by Andrew Ong.
Yep.
One of the greatest screeners ever, and I would say this. Scoreboard pressure matters. So we got a no-ad point, another no-ad point, 4-3.
Come on, baby. Oh.
So
that was costly.
Interestingly, is that 3 that Murphy's received of the no ads? It's at least 2, but it may be 3.
So
yeah.
What's our number?
Right. I think it's 3 for 3.
Yeah.
3-1 in favor of Murphy Ong.
Yeah.
So you have 8
but I think
games
no
played.
one's right. I think Tom's got all 3 of them, though.
Yeah.
Right. He will continue. I mean, I will be shocked if he does not continue to get the no-ad call, right?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Sit down. This kid. Good lamb.
But that one right there is you gotta have a short memory, right?
Yeah.
If you're McKnight Bacher, short memory, just get back to it. I do think that you'll see, like you said, Noah, you'll see maybe Bacher and McKnight alternate on the no-ad point. I don't think you'll see an alternate on Murphy Ong. It'll be always Tom. His return is just too big.
Yeah, you want to use that weapon whenever you have a chance.
And it's not that Ong can't hit a big backhand and get a good look or hit his forehand, but Tom's just hitting. Yeah. It's like what I did with Jonas. I had already told you. I'm with my partner, Jonas Medix from Belgium. I played this tournament with. That's a big forehand by Rob Bacher. Yeah. And I had him take all 15. It was somewhere, whatever the number was today. 15, 20 no-ad points.
Yeah, that's too big of a weapon. You got to use that to have the chance.
Here's what the question is: has Andrew Ong taken on the entire day? Has he taken a no-ad point? We will ask. So we can ask him maybe after the match, but I would say, I'm guessing you go with.
Oh yeah.
If it's just too good, you go with it.
Shot.
I can tell you what you don't want. You don't want a close set if you're Bacher and McKnight that goes Murphy and Ong's way. Because knowing you have to play 2 more.
Yep. Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Good
McKnight,
hands.
great hands of Ben
From
McKnight.
Wow.
He's got such good hands.
I was feeling pretty good about the way Tom was moving in at that time, but he snapped that back in pretty good, but McKnight wasn't all that impressed with it. It was a nice volley.
I think you really need this first set. You really need a first set. Look at Rob Bacher, so smooth.
It's going in.
There's that one-hander. One-handed backhand.
Okay, Bacher's forehand volley, that last one, not an easy shot. Going inside in like that, moving to his left again. Putting on a clinic.
So it's interesting now. It seems like McKnight, at least, is bailing out kind of tight to the body, but to the backhand side for Ong, and almost seeing if you can get him to take a backhand that he doesn't really have the room to take.
Right, and I think also, I don't think it seems like just that he doesn't mind if Andrew's hitting the backside or side back backhand because he wants to stuff into the other corner.
Yeah,
and
he's so good at closing the net.
I think the key for Andrew is going to be you got to locate it in the right spot. You either got to put it right down that line on a right hip of Bacher, for example, in this setup, or you got to find that middle. But I do think that if he goes to the wrong spot in the middle, Ben's going to look to stuff into the other corner. He's very good at that.
Yeah. Well, it looks like he's also hitting with the right pace where Andrew's not coming forward when he's hitting it. He's hitting it from basically back against the back screen, too, if he's going to get a backhand off at all.
Yeah, that's another thing, especially with McKnight and Bacher at the net. They're not swinging it a lot. And if they do, they're really not giving Murphy something in his wheelhouse, which I think is a smart move.
No, I just noticed we got quite a good crowd here at Sunset.
We do.
Ridge tonight.
We do. Sunset crowd is turned out. We got, I would say we got a good, almost maybe 25, I don't know, 20, 25 people watching.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a great
At
crowd.
least. Oh, yeah.
I would have gone with 125 because who's going to call you on it at this
playing.
point?
Some steady playing from Murphy Ong right there, earning it.
All right, so we got. So again, not the end of the world if McKnight Bacher don't win this point. Win this game. You're on serve.
Yep.
But remember
big.
they were up a break, 4-3.
I think this first set is.
I think the first
really
set's
important.
crucial. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to put it in my own terms. If I'm them, and I had to. It's about hours played. It's not about talent.
Mileage.
This is about mileage.
Yep.
And they played. They've had some mileage in this tournament.
That's
Ooh,
in there.
great shot, Rob Bacher. Guy's so talented. Incredible. But if you have all that time played, the first set matters. I'm sorry, it just does.
Nice volley.
Yeah, great.
The thing
volley.
about Rob is, does anybody make it look easier than him?
No.
I know. He makes it look so easy.
It's crazy.
It's in there.
Yep.
Just pick up. I
Hit
know.
off the side.
It did kind of.
Thank you.
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to have a super slow-mo to see if that ball hit the side.
It almost-
I know
it looked
viewers
like
at
it
home,
did.
you might have seen the same thing. That might have hit off the side and gone back in play. Gosh, that was a 30-all, 4-all, 30-all.
Yeah, that's
huge
the first
point.
loose return I've seen from either side for a while, though.
But this is what I don't mind about Bacher doing that. He's so confident in his
Yep.
forehand that he's like, if I'm getting the lick, I'm taking it. That's a sign
Yeah.
of a winner right there. Play to win.
That's true. Take your cut. There it is.
Yeah, there's Tom looking for that.
Just
Yep.
waiting for it.
He's moving in. It's no different than McKnight moving in on Ong's
wall up,
backhand,
yep.
right? Murphy's going to move in when McKnight's hitting it too, unless he's got a big advantage. That's a tough
Super
overhead.
overhead.
All
It's
right,
a big point.
all right, 5-4 on serve.
Wow. As it should be. Nice crossfade there, Cal. Wow. Cal Noble, the technical director. Once again, if you just joined us, we are here at lovely Sunset Ridge Country Club in Northfield, Illinois. This is Sean Albrecht. I'm joined by Noah Seidenberg and Peter Burka. We are at technically Cabin Fever Open for 2023, and we're just watching the finals here.
Men's finals.
That's right.
Women are tomorrow,
Yeah,
right?
women are tomorrow.
Got a nice field for the women tomorrow?
Yeah, I heard a full 32 draw.
Oh, that's great.
Nice job, really.
Yeah, 60% chance of rain, though. I'm hoping they don't have to deal with that. We got some Sunset Ridgers playing it. Some of our gals in that draw. But the fourth seed is a team from Sunset Ridge.
Cool. It's not supposed to be
David
like
Donnelly.
a deluge. It's just supposed to be off and on, from what I understand.
What's that?
The rain's supposed to be just kind of off and on. It's not supposed to be a deluge tomorrow. There is some rain, but it's not like, it won't be all day long, from what I understand, which is good. And it's because I just always look at the accumulation. At least somebody else told me to do that.
Right.
And it didn't look like it was going to be this huge flood. Of course, I don't mean to jinx you. I should just shut up, because I'm definitely not a meteorologist.
Doing your best, Harry Volkman.
I also want to give a shout out to Nancy Prosco, Sam Borstein. They're playing. Nancy Prosco is a Sunset Ridge member playing tomorrow. So I always encourage, for league players, I want to give some league player thoughts here for a moment.
Sure.
And I think one of them is play tournaments. If you play series 1, 2, or 3, even 4, play tournaments. It's
Yes.
going to just help your game. These tournaments are set up to be one day. They can be very friendly for scheduling.
Sure.
Even if we're super busy, but play tournaments. You'll maybe you run into a really strong team, but then you get some reps at that, and you come back to your league match, and it looks slower, and things look a little easier.
Exactly.
Like play, and I don't mean that just for the gals. I mean that for the guys too. Like play tournaments. I'm not saying you got to travel out of state necessarily, because there's a lot of local tournaments, but that's the first thing I would say. The other thing I want to mention for league players is the flow of play here. So, oh gosh, what a get by Tom Murphy.
Unbelievable.
Look at the patience here, the patience level. There's no rush.
No.
There's no reason the point has to be short.
Well, you'd think after a get like that, too, that the natural instinct would be to keep it sped
Look
up,
at the
right?
flip.
That's a great
Yes.
defense by Ben McKnight.
Almost deserve better than that. The other thing, Pete, great point, by the way. The other thing I was going to mention is, and I think I mentioned it a little earlier, which was they're not swinging the ball, but sometimes they will. And if you notice, if they do swing the ball, how easily and how usually smoothly the net team will shift. Because that's one thing that we teach all the time, we coach all the time with a lot of our league players. Listen, if you're gonna swing the ball, just make sure you're set up to handle that type of thing, because otherwise you can actually swing yourself into some trouble.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think when you have a good look, like, is this a good look? No. All you're doing, you're buying time for the good look. And when you get it, now some people will pass it up if they think the net team closed and they won't drive it. But if you're in the backcourt, you lob so you can drive.
Yeah.
You lob to drive. If you lob and you get an error, okay.
Yeah.
That's you know what? That's
called platform tennis.
Yeah, thanks for the gift. But you lob so you can drive. You wait it out. Now you could also be playing an impatient team that you feel is not going to love 15, 20, 25, 30 lobs, whatever it is. And then so you just lob them in a little extra.
Yep. Patience, tolerance, threshold.
And then the pace of the game that people may know or may not know is the flow of the play is always dictated by the backcourt team. If they want to lob every ball, you're going to play long. If they want to drive every ball, it will be short. The only way the net team can keep things short is with cutters and with hitting the crease and obviously drop shots. But if you don't get those things, you're going to be playing long points if the backcourt team wants to lob.
And sometimes you're just better off continuing to let the point lengthen the point, I should say. Just hit a reset, keep it deep. Especially if you're, I don't know, it's like doing a cartwheel, but if you're just back behind this, I mean, this is so basic, but back behind the service line, it's not like you can't take a chance if you feel like you can afford it, but.
Right. There's the stuff by Ben. Very good at that.
And even at this level, you'll see some pretty spectacular shot making with some of these guys. But, they're all capable of just hitting it like that. A perfect reset.
Well, notice that this...
Oh, boy, it's a good move. It's a great move. As soon as he saw that high backhand volley, just bolted.
That's that first set right there.
That's first set.
And Andrew Ong, his anticipation on those balls is just so good.
Wow. All right, well, that's the first set here. Still anything can happen here at the 2023. Look, here comes Andrew Ong. We're going to get I'd love to get like an interview. Maybe get some like a high handheld camera. Cal, make that happen for me. I'm just kidding. He's not going to do that. So we'll be back just shortly after these messages.
From the heart of Chicago up to the North Shore and stretching from the northwest suburbs down to Kankakee. From urgent in-office care to virtual in-home visits, we're making orthopedic care available wherever and however you need it. Because while we're adapting our lives to keep each other safe, we know that new injuries will happen and old injuries will still linger. And IBJI is here to help.
Not your bank's top priority? Here at Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. No hidden fees or runarounds, but a true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. Whether you're opening your first account, found your dream home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have the financial solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank. Wintrust, different approach, better results.
All right, we are live from Northfield, Illinois, Sunset Ridge Country Club. Back for the second set of the 2023 Cabin Fever Classic Men's Final. I'm Peter Burka. I do want to mention that the 5th place match has been completed, and the winners were Brian Panic and Harry Sullivan. They defeated Brad Smith and Greg Watring 4-6, 7-5, and then the super breaker for the third 10-8.
I was just going to say that would have been a good match to watch too.
Yeah, that would have been a fun one right there.
I know 3 of those guys.
And so,
and then there was one more we wanted to mention though, Coach.
and yeah, there was a
Ninth place.
the 9th place and 10th place match. All right, we're gonna come up with the
We'll get it.
names.
That's
Yep.
fine.
It's all right. I apologize if I botch the names. Mislav Kolak and Thembo Makahanya won the 9th place match, and they're, I think, both from New Jersey. Great guys. Played them in the round of 16. Jonas and I did, and up and coming rising stars taking the title.
They're both out. They were a pretty good teacher. Mick Ardoya is the director of rackets at Montclair Golf Club, where both of them are assistant pros at.
That's right.
It's a beautiful area.
Mick Ardoya, national champion a couple years ago. Mick Ardoya, great guy. Big time
Montclair, New
player in the
Jersey.
game.
Home of the, well, actually, he's in West Orange. What am I saying? I was going to say home of the great Joshua Paul Thompson. I'm the only one who knows who he is. But anyway, other than maybe Cal. So,
All right, let me ask you guys both a question, both of you.
Sure.
So 6-4 close set was the one scenario I said
you did?
you didn't necessarily want if you're, but it's not if you're Bacher and McKnight. Not the end of the world though. What do you think is going to happen? What's going to happen in the second set here? Besides the first point being a fault.
I think they got to come out really strong, otherwise it can get away from them quickly. I think with that long match they had before and losing the first, they've got to come out hot.
Yeah.
Just a
Sean, go ahead.
format question. You mentioned that there is a tiebreaker for the third set. Is there a tiebreaker for the third set here?
No, not for the final.
So they play it.
The
They play it
final.
out.
Oh, what a shot,
Okay.
Tom Murphy.
That's obviously why I mentioned that question, because if they know that they're going to be playing a tiebreaker for the third, they can cash a little more energy.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
I
Yeah.
think well, I mean, and I know some of this is no duh, but I will say that, I mean, if you're Bacher and McKnight, you have to, right? You got a fault and then a quick
Nice.
point. You're up 30 love. Now it's 30-15. Okay, now it's 30 all.
Yep.
I mean, it would be really nice to come out of the chute with a break.
It would.
It would be.
And actually,
but 3 quick the
Bacher
other way.
he had a wheelhouse forehand there.
Yeah. I love that he attacks his forehand. He's not
Yep.
afraid. And Ben's the same way. Ben will attack his backhand. He's not afraid. I love that. I really love all the way all 4 players play paddle. Ooh, freebie. Okay, now we're at deuce point. Who's taking it? No ad point.
We're giving it to Bacher.
Going to Bacher. How aggressive do you get?
This might be the most crucial. Oh, look at that. Beautiful.
You know what he does so great? I think Bacher, he knew to move that. He was going cross court earlier.
Right.
He moves that down the line, thinking Murphy might cut it off.
Sure.
Because in this scenario, I'm not gonna.
What a shot!
What a shot, Tom Murphy.
I'll tell you what.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just. If there's an MVP so far.
Do we have a 5 to 1?
5 to 1.
Wow.
I got statistics
Our
rolling
statistician,
in. Yeah, our statistician has just
Cal
told us
Noble.
there's been 6 no-ad games, and it's 5-1 in favor of Murphy Ong. I mean, they're hitting the big shots on those points, and Murphy has won 2 of them at least.
Yep.
Right, the return early, and then this one.
Yep.
There might be more that I don't know about, or that that I'm not adding in to the statistic, but. I mean, big-time players make big-time plays.
So
No question.
So it's interesting because you kind of have to think with a set that was that close that it probably would have been more. It would have been closer to 50-50 had they played out a full deuce, right? I mean, statistics would just tell you that.
That's a great point, Noah. You're right. The other thing I was going to say is it's easier.
5-1. They've won 7 games, and Murphy and Ong have won their 5 of their 7 games with that single point tie.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I agree. I mean, it's.
The other thing is, when you are down a set and you've got to deal with a Tom Murphy forehand and have to volley it, it's a lot tougher than if you're up a set.
Sure.
Yeah,
so it's to your point, because I think you mentioned this before, playing the score. You know.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just You need this game.
Yep.
I mean, this is a must game if you're Bacher McKnight. You got to get this game because it's everyone knows this, and I'll say it anyways. The score matters. The score keeps you engaged.
Yep.
Bad scores, being down 1-3, 1-4 is harder to stay
It's gonna
engaged.
work. Speed. Nice dig.
Wow. I don't know. I'm starting to sense the guys in the backcourt a little tired now. I
That
mean,
was a nice shot.
deservedly so after a long day, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good move, Rob. Here we go.
I think Rob just requested he not do that anymore.
Look at Pirates of the Caribbean court here. We've got Rocket, no, Cal. No. All right, well,
I don't know that reference.
I'm just going to say either that or we just need new shocks out there. Oh, it's a good move.
Like that one back.
All right, huge point here. 30 all.
Yes, pivotal.
Murphy on. Andrew on getting his speed going.
Okay, he tried to flatten that out.
So
maybe
why
a
do you
little
think
too much.
why do you think he felt he needed to go that hard? I feel like when people bail, if you know they're bailing, I'm not saying Tom knew that, but if you know at this point of the juncture that they might be bailing,
I got you.
You might just go off speed.
So here's the thing. Honestly speaking, it did not look like Bacher was going to move. As you know, what I'm saying he didn't take off
So
early.
he felt like he had to go.
Maybe he felt And the other thing is sometimes if you're playing well, and I haven't seen Tom Murphy play that much, but he is kind of rolling on that side. It's like, hey, let's see how hard I can hit this thing and still keep it in. You know, I mean, that was a little bit out of his strike zone, and it was a little more of a, as I call it, a quasi-tomahawk. Look at that one, Andrew. Sit. No.
All right, that's a big game for Bacher McKnight.
Sure.
Big game.
Huge.
Very much.
And, you're also playing a team in Murphy Hong that, have had great results together.
Yep.
Like, this is a team that they feel confident, and
That's a
not
great
that,
move.
Not that anybody else does. That
back off.
So much
Might have
pressure.
been a bail right there, but
He
I don't
could have,
the-
but
I know
Tom's-
I don't have the hands like that.
Exactly. His hands are so good. Tom doesn't feel like he has to bail.
I've been running for a sandwich after that one.
Good blitz. Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
Ben. Great pressure.
Yeah. Blitz. What a shot.
Look at that.
Wow. Come on.
And
He was
Tom
kinda
Murphy,
fooled.
I think, has a great serve. I
Yeah.
really do think
Yeah.
he and so does Andrew Ong. Like, these are two very good servers, and Rob and Ben are having a lot of success.
No question. As a
off the
matter of fact,
return.
Rob kind of almost got fooled by that one. It got a little too far away from him. You're still able to snap it down. That's just talent with a capital T. What's that like, I wonder? I don't know.
All right, I'll throw something out to you two and all the viewers. 40 love. Do you play a quick point or long point?
Ooh, I'm going long.
Yeah,
Because long, you could say, okay, it's a long road back, or you can say I got house money and I'll play a quick one.
yeah.
Which one is it?
Well, depending on the team, I would go. Well, they just won the game, by the way, with
They
a
did.
break. But I would say I'd play a long one, depending
All
on
right.
who's who.
So that's
obviously-
2 now.
Yep. 5-2.
No, that
I
was
don't think it was in the no ad. Was it a?
Oh, that was not a
15?
no ad.
Or
That was not a no
15-40?
ad. Okay.
That might have been a 15-40 point. Yeah.
So if you, I'm not saying there's a right answer or
No,
a
I
wrong
know- I
answer.
know.
I just think
still,
that
I think if you're Ong and Murphy, I still think you have to stretch this out a little bit.
Yep.
I think eventually.
Make it physical.
I think eventually these guys have, McKnight and Bacher have had a longer day, and certainly Rob,
But-
if not playing as many terms lately, is going to be more tired as it goes on.
but you could argue that if you're up 40 love, and if your tank has been hit a little bit, don't you want some quicker ones? So
smack
do you
it.
play
Oh, I see
faster at
what you're
40
talking
love?
about. Okay.
That's what I'm saying, or 40-15, because you're like, we need to get out of this game. We need to win it. Let's get on to the next one. There's a lot of, like, Ben is so
Stuff
good
like
at that
that,
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
If Ben can take a spin overhead and turn it into offense,
Yeah, it's amazing how he can take
look at
it
that.
from.
Look at that. That's so good. Ben cutting off that ball.
It's
That
interesting they
thing's
weren't ready
shoulder
for
high,
that.
and he's still able to snap it down. That's amazing.
All right, if you want to have the first scenario you haven't
Great
had,
waterfall.
which is a
Great waterfall. That was perfect.
which is a 2-game lead, right?
Yep.
This would be the first
Right.
2-game lead if they were to win it.
Nice
Bacher and
half volley.
McKnight.
All right. We're sure Rob Bacher's not a teaching pro, right? Because that was pretty much
No,
a teaching
No,
pro.
he
half
is.
volley.
He is a teaching
Oh,
pro.
I figured because that's a teaching pro half volley. But what a touch there.
Incredible shot by Ben McKnight.
So these guys are pretty
Incredible.
much. Okay, they're rolling now.
That's big. 1-3.
1-3.
Look at that.
Tell you what, the wheels were falling off.
Well, this is exactly no. I was just going to say this is the first. Murphy and Ong have been so rock solid.
Absolutely.
Right.
They've been so good throughout the tournament. And I like Ben going for that though.
Me too.
But Murphy Ong, this is their first little blip.
Right.
Both games, the last 2 games. I'm not talking about this game. The last
what a
2
shot.
games were 40-love leads by Bacher and McKnight, and now they're up 30-15.
Yep.
So.
Well, there's a difference playing with a lead too.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, not
It just
that
matters.
Ong and Murphy have led the whole way.
Look at that. I mean,
Shot.
that's so good. He got it at the feet quick.
Yep. Good eye.
Well, here's the thing. If you're Murphy Ong, you're down 3-1, 40-15.
Yep.
I know you're at the net in this scenario. They're the serve team, but do you try to slow things down a little bit?
Oh, I think you would. Yeah, right there, maybe bail or be at the baseline in the first place. Yeah. Wow. If you feel like you're just having trouble. It's not though Tom can't handle that. It's just this, you're playing the score again.
Peter, what's your mindset? So you obviously see momentum shifting. You're feeling if you're on Murphy and you're feeling the momentum shift. Are you stopping and talking about anything just to ice the other team, slow things down?
I mean, it's a double break, right? It's going to be McKnight and Bacher. I think the first thing I think about is I start thinking about, obviously I said it was a fitness contest. All these things are, and again, you have to address that. Some people will say it's sometimes it's not, but you have a ton in the tank. You can still come back from 4-1.
Sure.
Down.
Oh, yeah.
If you're Murphy Ong, you have a no-ad format. You're guaranteed to only play 7 points in one game. Why not? You win this 4-2, anything can happen. So, okay, there's a freebie right there, 15 all, and you got Tom returning. So there's absolutely light there at the end of the tunnel. But I think if you're McKnight Bacher, you got exactly what you needed.
Sure.
Exactly what you needed. You needed a strong start.
I'm just a little surprised in that last game as things started going sideways for Ong Murphy that they didn't slow it down and decide to have a conference or tie a shoe or do something to try to slow the momentum a little bit.
Well, it almost seemed at 2-1. 2-1 was the game where they needed to slow it down, right? They were serving at 3-1. 2-1 was the game to slow it down, and I think they played a little fast.
Nice.
Smart. It's a smart shot from Ong. I'll say 15-30 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little opening for Murphy Ong.
What a shot. Sit down.
Nice try.
Wow.
So they were, I mean, the biggest thing I think Bacher and McKnight were able to do, or have been able to do that Jonas and I didn't do as much in the semi, was they just put in a lot of pressure into the corners with cutters and spins. And, I tell league players this, if you don't have cutters and spins, that's okay. Make sure you hit balls to screens. Make sure you hit with touch, angle, spin, speed, change, make sure you're dealing with that. You don't necessarily need a ton of spin. If you take spin out of it, I know I mentioned spin, but just take that out of it. And if at least you deal with angle and other things, you can still create or put people in tough positions.
Absolutely.
Right? At this level, it's just, there's other factors. And I think at the very least for league players, remember, if you're an overheader, the screen is your friend just as much as it's the friend of the backcourt.
That's a great point. Yep. That's absolutely true. Kind of a possible
it gives you that
position right here.
And it gives you that extra 1/1000, right, or whatever it is. It buys you extra time. You can set up your positioning better.
Yep.
You can anticipate a drive, anticipate a lob.
Yeah, you know what? I got to say, of all concepts, that might be top 10 underrated.
Yeah.
Which is pace, where, hey, if you need time, you can buy it if you just don't hit it as hard.
Yeah. There's players I've played where I told myself, I'm not going to let any of their balls go to the screen. Because I'm going to make them hit in
one time,
0.75.
sure,
I'm just
absolutely.
going to give him less time. Here you go, right back
Yep.
at you, right back at
Exactly.
you. And, you know, it's, you know, whatever you want to call that, pre-screening or blocking your screens,
Sure.
either way. This is a no-ad point. We're looking at
Yep.
another no-ad point here. Huge swing point. If you go 5-1, you're probably 90% to win it.
Yep.
At
Nice
4-2,
dig. That was
you
not easy.
You might drop to, I don't know, 60%, 70%. I'm throwing out stats, and I'm not
We're
100%
buying. We're buying
sure.
every one of them.
Hopefully you're buying them. I'm just throwing them.
You know what? Put me down for however much. Put it on my tab. It's fine. I bought it. You got it. Well, anyways, the other thing that Pete had mentioned before that I just thought I'd bring it up is from the serving side, Noah. You know, when you want more time or you need more time because somebody's either ripping and you got to be set to hit that first volley. Sometimes you can hit a serve too hard. You can actually put too much pace on your serve when you're going in. It's amazing how that kind of works out. It's not like it's all the time, but there are times where, I mean, I can tell you just watching certain matches where you can give somebody pace and they like it. You know what I'm saying? Like some people just absolutely feed off of it. And then there are some where if you just make them create the pace, they are less comfortable. And to me, that's part of paddle anyway. What is the old saying is that it's really my job. Our job is to make that team uncomfortable. That's pretty much our job the entire way through.
It looks like what Bach and McKnight are trying to do, at least on the serves, are moving Tom Murphy.
Sure.
So he's stepping backwards and trying to hit the forehand. So he's moving to the middle and trying to hit the forehand. And with Andrew Ong, when they're serving to him, they're serving in tight to the body on the backhand side to, again, maybe see if they can force him to hit a backhand because he wants to hit his backhand, but do it in a spot where it's maybe not an ideal place
And they're
to do
building
it.
the wall. They're ready for it anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's part of the gig, man.
This is turning out to be quite the point. Nobody wants to get too aggressive with it.
And understandably. I was going to say, if I was still coaching right now, just shout out to Lakeshore Country Club. I haven't seen some of those guys in a while. But if you just watch, because most of the time at a Series 1 level or Series 2 level, we'll talk about all the shot making that goes on. And then what you do is you forget that everybody there can play percentage paddle if they need to. Like, and I think I mentioned it before, you know, you can hit just a basic reset like that.
Right.
Like it's just a basic reset or, you know, just kind of building a wall, not doing much with the volley, not hitting overhead too hard. What a get, sit down. Oh, that was tough. Might have been a seamer there. I didn't even see
I
what
think
happened.
so.
Right
All
there,
right,
so.
that's big, 5-1.
Wow. What a turnaround. Got to give them credit here, these guys.
So at 5-1, well, he's changing the sidearm serve.
Yeah.
At
Yeah, he'll do that occasionally. I was mentioning that before, which I like, by the way. I'm a big fan of that, where he just changes the pace a little bit, even if he did lose that point. What a return. Okay, a 5-1 lead will give you a lot of more confidence there. Not that McKnight's backhand isn't pretty rock solid. Anyway, I love that shot. Yeah, even as we always talk about that, you know, drop shots or short balls don't need to be winners, outright winners. Just something that will affect the other team. Nice shot. Tell you what, he's got some hops. That on kid, way up. It's going to go in.
Yeah, nice.
Just pick up. Look at that. It's a great overhead. Oh, perfect pace on that. I tell you what, not a bad idea. Just, you know, Bacher just was kind of ready for him. Hit it, didn't put much pace on it, so even if he's blitzing, he's got to hit a low volley. Let's stay in.
Yeah, that's two
Wow.
crease serves into that corner, right?
Yeah.
Outright winners. So
Just kind of a little.
So Tom Murphy had not hit that serve once in the semis and is bringing it out. And I think the reason is Rob Bacher,
Sure.
right? I mean, he's just returning too good.
Yep. Look at him not backing off. No. Almost pays off.
All
So
right.
this is where if you're Murphy Ong, you just want to hang around for a game or two just to see what happens.
Yep.
You're down 1-5, you're like, hey, let's just hang around, make it 2-5, 3-5, see what happens.
Sure.
You don't have you have no like energy concern. right?
No.
So even if you hang around and you're like, hey, if we come all the way back and we lose the set, still got plenty for the third.
Beauty.
Certainly looks like Bach and McKnight have a second win.
Yeah, I would. Well, I agree. No, you wonder, is it not just because they're in control of the set? Do you think they, at this point, believe they can win?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you figured out something and you go, gosh, okay, I know it's just the second, but if we figure out something now that can help us already in the next set, I know if they win it, then they're in good shape.
So
a no ad point?
That was the deuce point, and we had Ben McKnight taking that one. So
5-2, our statistician is telling us it's 5. There's been 7 total no ad points. And it's 5-2 Murphy on.
it is interesting.
Oh, he went after it.
5-3 now, Murphy on.
All right, and that's the second set. Much quicker than the first.
Yeah.
We're going 3.
There's a rhyme in there somewhere. Let's wrap that thing.
I'm sure.
Anyway, so we will be back to Sunset Ridge for the third set of this final after these messages.
From the heart of Chicago up to the North Shore and stretching from the northwest suburbs down to Kankakee. From urgent in-office care to virtual in-home visits, we're making orthopedic care available wherever and however you need it. Because while we're adapting our lives to keep each other safe, we know that new injuries will happen and old injuries will still linger. And IBJI is here to help.
Not your bank's top priority? Here at Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. No hidden fees or runarounds, but a true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. Whether you're opening your first account, found your dream home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have the financial solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank. Wintrust, different approach, better results.
You can do whatever you want, Coach. Come on. This
Just
is
make
your,
sure
wait
you
a
say
minute. This is
all the national winners the last several years have been using Xenon, as long as you say that.
Oh, did that come out over the air? What a shot.
That's right.
I think that was picked up on there.
Do we notice that? I think that
Yeah, we've
can all
got
notice.
1 Xenon and 3 Viking, I think, on the court officially. That's neither here nor there, but I just wanted to mention that. Xenon being a big sponsor of the tournament. Thank you, Noah, and for all you
They're
do.
taking names
for the
as
sport.
Xenon is what's
And
going on.
I know Viking does a ton for the sport too.
Absolutely. Anyway, so I guess we're getting what we want, is what I'm trying to say. As the fans of Platform, we are getting what we want here. A third set, the Ocho.
So
I don't know
I
if this is
do
the
want to
Ocho.
mention, we mentioned the 9th place earlier was Kolak and Makahanya. They beat Sims and Weimuller 6-4, 6-2. That was for 9th place, 9th, 10th place match. The consolation draw, Howard and Parks defeated Harris and Larco 6-4, 6-4. In that's for 17th, 18th, is that correct? And then Constellation Reprieve draw final. Rosenberg and Trapp beat Levine and Shiv Dasani 6-2. That's
you got
for
that right.
17th,
I think you got
18th.
that right.
These one.
Yes.
Levine won. Levine
Right.
should be Sunday
I apologize. Rosenberg and Trapp for 17th and 18th.
They lost.
Sorry, yes, they lost. Sorry, Levine and Shivat.
All right.
I apologize.
Krishnan.
No
Yes.
apology necessary.
Yes, Rosenberg and Trapp lost that match. I'm sorry. 6-2, 7-6 to Levine and Shiv Dasani. And then our last chance, we got to mention all the reprieves. That's what I wanted to do.
Sure.
That was won by Crow and Dahan over Franco and Myers, 7-6. 7-5 in the breaker, 1-6. And then Super Breaker, 10-5 in the Super Breaker. Congratulations to all our winners. I apologize to Levine and Shivadasani if I'm saying it wrong or I botched that. But you did win that. Howard and Parks won. And all the other winners, thank you very much.
Yeah. Congrats to all. We're
All right,
back
so
underway.
first point.
Yep.
We are back. Third set. Okay, I'm going to ask you what I asked you guys before. What do you think? Thoughts of the third set?
I think Ong and Murph are going to come out with 0-0 mindset and go back to what they're doing the first set, which is just playing good, solid paddle and not making mistakes.
Well, I agree. I think they're looking to grind. It looks like right now. If
Yeah.
anything, they want to. It looks like just by this first point, they're trying to get them a little tired, and that makes sense. It makes total sense. The thing is, McKnight and Bacher volley so well, so it's.
I was just going to say that, Coach. Yep.
You really have to be. I always say,
Nice
gosh,
cutter.
that is so good. Ben
Crazy
McKnight,
good.
Man.
The other thing is, and I've gone through this kind of debate. Maybe this is something we can kind of present where how much energy are you exerting at the net versus how much, and it depends on really how much you move when you're volleying. But, I mean, for the most part, most people will say, well, no, at the baseline, you're probably moving around a lot more, especially if you've got to let it go to the screen, cover when you're shifting or whatever. I don't know what you guys think of that.
Well, I think, well, it's small stuff. At this point of the match, they already know.
Oh, sure.
They know the tendencies within the match.
Sure.
So I think what just happened there, water
I think
bottle.
something fell over, yeah. So just to let.
And he tucked it under the board. What was that?
I don't know.
All right, replay. Here we go. 15 love, McKnight and Bacher.
I would say I just didn't feel good about that point anyway.
Wow.
What a shot.
So good.
That didn't come up for air. It was a nice volley. So 30.
So here's what I was kind of saying before. If you're McKnight Bacher at that 5-1 juncture, you've already felt like are you already thinking you can win the match? Because based on how good the games are going.
Sure.
So I think Murphy and Ong, now the scoreboard reverts back to them now. If they're going to win, these first couple games are huge because I'm not saying they're going to get run out, but 6-1
Yeah.
is
You got to stop the bleeding.
Right. They got to stop the bleeding. They've got to get back into it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely momentum. And
Yeah, right. The mojo is on one side right now, for sure.
to Noah's earlier point, it's funny because I don't know, and it's just gamesmanship, but do you start the third quickly?
Right.
If you don't have the momentum, or if you do have the momentum, do you want to start the third quickly? The answer is probably yes to the latter.
Yeah. If you have the momentum, sure. I will say this though. The one thing we have to remember is this is a final.
Yep.
And if you win a final, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You've won the whole tournament.
Yep.
And you can't tell me that all four players are not thinking about that.
Yep.
I mean, I think back to the finals I played in. I probably played in 15 finals. I won close to 10, whatever it is.
That's a good percentage.
It might have been more. My percentage probably was probably 50-50,
It does sound
to be
low
honest.
for you, yes.
It was probably 50-50. I won half, maybe 8 out of 16, something like that. But my point is that if you are playing in the final, that matters. Why wouldn't you want that title?
Yeah.
So is it going to affect your play? Are you going to be more conservative in the third set? Are you going to be, this makes sense. This all
What
makes
you're
sense.
saying, yes.
Look how long these points are. All of a sudden, all four players have been put in a position where it's like, well, I want to be the winner of this tournament.
Yep.
So I'm going to make sure every decision is perfect.
Yep.
And I'm not going to make a stupid decision. I'm going to make sure I find the ball I want if you're in the backcourt, and if you're at the net, I'm going to hit to exactly where I want to go.
Absolutely. And does this first point, whoever wins it, does that dictate it? It's like, okay, I guess we could safely say this team's going to win the match.
I don't know. I
if you
think
can
the
say
first,
that.
I think the first couple games are maybe not as indicative. I would say, I will say this: 30-15 in a no-ad format probably doesn't get talked about enough. You know why? If you're the net team and you win this point, you're guaranteed yourself 3 game points.
Yep.
Well, you would never think that in a regular scoring format.
Right.
But at 30-15, if I'm McKnight and Bacher and I win this point,
Yep.
I got 3 game points I'm facing at.
You take one or
and then
two
if I get a
cutters.
Rob Bacher look at a cutter,
like that.
I might take. Okay, well now 30 all. I think Murphy and Ong played that perfect.
Yep.
That's exactly how you want to play. You got to hit a million balls and just wait it out, wait them out.
In a sense, kind of almost baited him into that cutter because I was a little low. Missed the serve here at 30 all.
So again, back to my point, 30-15 is enormous.
Yeah.
If you win it, you're at 3 game points. And obviously, I know Ben's he's not trying to fault there.
No, and he wasn't trying to take too big a chance on the serve either.
Right.
So didn't really mean
But
to.
Tom Murphy's got an incredible return.
Yeah.
So, right, there's a little bit of.
You're thinking about that,
He's
sure.
respecting and thinking
I mean,
about that.
It's only fair that you would, only justifiable you would anyway. Shot.
It's interesting. You're not seeing Ong rush the net as much as you did early on.
Yeah, well, that's a great point, Noah, because maybe is it related to every point means a lot and every decisions has got to be perfect.
I don't know that he had as much success as he might have had in earlier rounds with the hands that both Rob Bacher and Ben McKnight have too.
Sure.
Right. Okay, which number is this now? We're at
9.
9. Statistician is
say 8
telling
or
me this
9.
is the 9th no-head point right here.
That was a big return.
9.
Oh, super hands from Bacher. Because
now
Murphy hit a
the
customary
most
laser
updated-
beam there, and Bacher handled it. Go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to talk.
Not
That was
at all.
my fault. That's
Not
my
at all,
fault.
Not at all.
I just wanted to share with the audience 5-4 in favor of Murphy Ong on no-ad points.
Wow.
It's just crazy when you consider the number of games that they've won, 7, and that 5 of them have been won that way.
Yeah. That's a great, yeah, you're right. And if it starts to get to be more 50-50, that's not going to be good for Murphy Ong, right? I mean, it's...
True. Technically, I guess the good news for Murphy Ong right now is it is still on serve.
Exactly. Murphy and Ong, I mean, let's look at it from their perspective. You have plenty in the tank.
Yep.
This is doesn't need to be a fitness contest for you. If it is, you're going to be fine. But the point becomes, how do you want to win your points? What's your idea? Are you okay with Ben driving that backhand? Are you okay with Rob going into Rob's corner with the threat that he drives the forehand? I think at this point you have a decision to make on how you want to win points. Because if Andrew gets a look at a cutter, I play league matches with Andrew Ong on Thursdays at Glenbrook Racket Club, and I'm on the right a lot. I'm standing a lot where that's a great shot by Ben McKnight.
What a shot. Crazy good.
And what I tell Andrew a lot is, hey man, I want you going for your cutter. If it's there, I don't care. Just do me one favor, step into it. Step into it because you can go short or deep. Short or deep, they don't know what you're doing. So step into your cutter.
Oh,
great dig by Rob Bacher.
Yeah, that's good advice, actually, especially for him.
Yeah, he's so good. He's one of the best players I've ever played with. He's just greatest partners I've ever had because he gets it.
Yep.
He's a sponge. He wants me to tell him things. He's, I can get away with an occasional eye roll, which is terrible to do to your partner. And he's like, dude, yeah, bro.
If there was
I
a
hear you, man.
sportsmanship award,
That's only because he's a little guy.
Yeah.
Sportsmanship award, I think he would definitely be in the running.
Oh gosh, like he's
for sure.
I mean, he makes me better. I'll be very honest.
All right, so 15 all.
15 all. So
that's the first point in a while that I would say we've seen Andrew Ong be more active on the overheads too.
Yep.
Yeah, like trying to cut it.
Yeah. We haven't seen that for a while, probably since the first set. And they had success with it in the first set, and I think went away from it in the second.
I was going to mention one other thing, and that is that depending on how you win, and I've played enough matches at least to know this, where there are times where I will, bail on purpose and just say, these guys are just too good for the baseline right now, and we are not winning And when we won our set, we won it when we had them at the net. So let's bring them back in, and I'm going to let a few of these drives go.
Yes, I love it, Sean, as a changeup. Absolutely,
Yeah.
I don't mind it. In my own game, I don't do it a ton. There's another stuff volley by Ben McKnight,
Yep.
phenomenal shot.
So good.
I don't do it in my own game only because I want them to risk a drive to beat me. But absolutely, you're right. If you feel like it's just it's not working statistically to come in, sure.
Yes.
But changeups are always good. There's nothing wrong with a changeup, and you try it. If it works, you keep it. If it doesn't work, you go back to the other way.
Well, they always talk about mostly team sports this way, but I mean, you can even apply this to individual sports, and I guess even though this is doubles in platform, it definitely applies. Even in tennis, where you just say, look, make your opponent beat you with their weakest shot or
Right.
something that's because you're going to get beat by their strength all the time. Now, sometimes you could say, well, I want to break down their strength. Not everybody is, I don't know, I'm just using tennis.
Boris Becker?
Boris Becker.
Boris
right,
Becker
yeah.
was famous for that.
Yeah.
He wanted
Boris,
to break down someone's strength.
You know, and way back when, I think I could swear Jimmy Connors had the same attitude. But yeah, see, that's the way I look at it. But just sometimes it's kind of like just play percentages. Look, if he's going to beat me, I don't want to beat me with that big forehand. Just make him hit a million backhands.
Right.
But just that's just the whole mentality there, where you just like, look, just make him uncomfortable, like I said before, or less comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's. I feel like they're getting. I mean, there's clearly the momentum has continued.
Yep.
If correct me if I'm wrong, but the momentum is still on Bacher and McKnight's side. Look at that return. That's such a good return.
I tell you what, Rob Bacher has seemed to have found a second wind here because he is moving better.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Because that forehand, he stepped in aggressively with that one. It's there.
Wow, great lob.
It was. Look at that. One-hander.
Wow.
It's a one-hander extravaganza.
All right, 2-0, just like that. Got to do something to stop it.
It's Wawrinka Karekia out here with the one-handers.
All right, I'm going to say this. Well, I don't want to say it's the game of the match, but I'm going to say that if you're Murphy Ong, you need this game.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're right.
And I don't mind saying, no duh, but I'm going to say it anyways. Even if it's obvious, you have to say it. If you're Murphy Ong, you can't tell me you're not thinking about how important this game is.
They've lost
Right?
8 of the last 9 games, so
Right.
they got to get this one.
You got to stop the bleeding.
I'd like to see Andrew Ong start to charge the net
Blitz
here.
a little bit, yeah.
Blitz the
No,
net if
absolutely.
there's a nice deep lob from either he or Tom Murphy.
I agree. They're not getting that ball right
There
there.
we go.
In other words, they're not getting Murphy involved drive-wise, and that's more of a credit to me, to McKnight and Bacher. But if you are Ong and Murphy, I want to get that drive somehow involved, because I mean, it's not like what a shot like that.
Well, Murphy's just so strong.
Yeah,
You see it?
and he's not backing up. He hasn't lost any energy over there. It's not like he's.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather, if we're going to get a drive, let's have him do it.
I mean, if you hit Ben McKnight with a drive, that's impressive.
Yeah, because he's got some hands.
Ben's got incredible hands.
Now he's starting to roll here.
That's exactly what you need. Murphy Ong. If you're Murphy Ong, this is exactly what you
Absolutely.
need. Blitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's it.
if
You called that one, no?
That could have been the game changer there. I think
Yeah,
getting it back
that's
from
exactly.
3-0 to 2-1, and you're back on serve, right?
Yep.
if you're Murphy Ong, you had to have that game.
For sure.
If you are.
So let's see if they can keep that momentum going and back on serve. See if Andrew Ong stays aggressive on the overheads.
Absolutely. Once again, perfect paddle weather. If
Actually,
you've just joined us, we are at in Northfield, Illinois, at the lovely Sunset Ridge Country Club for the Cabin Fever Open. You're watching the finals between Andrew Ong, Tom Murphy.
Oh, boy.
Well, there's something you don't see very often. Well, when you watch me play, maybe you do, but not that anybody else.
Well, this.
Go ahead,
I know
Pete.
it's not. Wow, quick 40-love lead by McKnight Bacher.
Yeah, I was going to say. Anyway, to finish it up, Ben McKnight and Rob Bacher our Murphy and Ong's opponents. We were with Noah Seidenberg and Peter Burka.
League players and then tournament players. This two stay back. Let's talk about it. Sneak attack by Ong on the last one. I love it. I think it's a great changeup. I would have sneak attacked that last one. They did the same look, two back, but Andrew stayed back. I would actually go in again. I think one thing that looked wide, yeah. I think the one thing you got to do, is this a no-ad point? No, 30-40.
No, not yet.
30-40. I think you got to look to sneak attack more. But why don't you want the net? Yeah,
right there.
You want the net.
Nice touch.
Oh, what a touch lob.
Crazy.
Bacher. Incredible.
Just anticipating that blitz.
This is very high level paddle.
There we go.
Yeah, you got to hit that. There you go.
Wow.
So my favorite saying about pressure is either you apply it or you feel it. Which one are you? Do you apply the pressure or do you feel the pressure?
Yeah.
So you have to...
Like being the hunter or the hunted, right?
Exactly.
This is the same idea.
By the way,
Yeah.
this is our 10th no-ad point, guys.
10th no-ad point. And it's 5-4 Murphy on.
Stayed in.
This is another...
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh, my gosh.
You are joking.
You got to be...
Yeah, but you know what? Again, that was attacking the net, right? That's what we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
He was aggressive and it paid dividends. You're right.
I'd like to think Lady Luck follows you when you play to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fortune favors the brave.
Exactly. Exactly.
I guess you.
So 2-2 is a score that absolutely in the third set favors Murphy on.
Yeah, I would
right?
say.
Right? If it was 3-1, and again, I'm talking about like live odds and percentages and whatever you want to talk about. 2-2.
For those of you gambling at home
Exactly,
on this match.
exactly.
That's right. What was the line on this puppy?
Your live odds, well, I'm not sure, but I'll let you set the odds on that. But
sports gambling is legal. We should start gambling on battle matches.
I would say, well, I think at 2-2, you're favoring Murphy Ong.
Sure.
Right? At 3-1, you know, the live betting odds would probably be more 50-50.
Yeah.
Well,
he tried.
That's a
great
shot.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Again,
shot.
it's play to win, aggressive play. I love Andrew looking for, you know, when I play with him and he does that move, I'm like, good. Forward. Forward is good. Backward is defense. Forward is offense.
That was a sensational adjustment by McKnight, by the way, anticipating that. So, because it sure looked like he did.
The problem with that is if you're gonna come forward, you better make sure that lob was deep enough.
Yeah.
Because then you're decreasing angle possibilities, right?
You're right.
It's just simple math on that. And I like Andrew doing it. I don't know if the lob was deep enough. Not sure.
I'll tell you what, I think this set has changed once they started getting more aggressive. Once Ong and Murphy started getting more aggressive attacking the net. Like even that last point.
I love it.
Andrew stepped up, missed it. There you go. It's again.
Great gap by Ben.
Attacking.
Right.
Good lob. He's there.
Oh.
Okay, that might be just a little bit of the fatigue maybe coming in there for Bacher to get
a cutter?
Looked like
it did look like it had some underspin on. I don't know if it was like a classic cutter or the cutter in a classic sense, but sure worked that way.
So how many cutters are there going to be when it's 2-2 in the third set and you have a tournament title on the line? Like you know, all these guys, Novak, Djokovic, and Nadal and Federer. I mean, tournament titles is what those guys.
Yeah.
They made that a
great shot. Nice
business.
dig.
So if you're
Super dig from Murphy.
I just think that's what's so unique about this. I always thought about like I want the tournament title. I know golf. It's okay to finish top 5, but in racket sports, you
Don't
want
tell Tiger
first.
that.
It's only first. It's only first.
What does it mean when you finish second in the golf tournament? You still won a lot of money.
Exactly, and points, but it's kind of respected, right?
Sure.
I don't think it's as respected in racket. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying people disrespect it.
No.
But you don't feel great when you know. Was it Talladega? What's that movie?
Talladega Nights.
There you go, where they said you're the first loser. Like that's not a great feeling, right? You know.
Well,
That's not a good feeling. And I'm saying, I don't mean that in disrespect to who loses this match.
Right.
All I'm saying is, you can't tell me you're not thinking
that's a good shot from
about
Murphy
tournament
again.
title. This, and so you're going to be your decisions that you
Got a
make
break point
throughout.
here. No, you're right.
Here we go from
Break point, 30-40.
From
Yep.
2-0 to a point away from 3 games in a row from Ong Murphy.
Oh, nice
Great
dig.
serve and a great dig by
Yeah, I
Andrew.
was feeling pretty good about that serve from McKnight there, but Ong just made a great adjustment.
See how,
Oh.
boy.
There we go. That might be a.
I think I was the pressure from Ong
Bit of
Murphy
a back
moving
Yeah,
around
coming
and-
forward, sure.
and getting
But you never know.
not afraid, but certainly respecting Murphy's forehand.
What do we say? It's not a break until you hold. Anyway.
That's right, Sean. It's not a break till you hold.
So let's just see if they can pull
So
that one
Murphy
off.
Ong serving up 3-2 in the
Yep.
third.
But we're definitely getting our money's worth here, guys.
Oh yeah. Well, you had 6-1, 2-1, right? You had
Yep.
You had 8 out of 10 games won by Bacher McKnight. That's dominance.
6-1,
You're
2-0,
dominating
yeah.
your opponent for a stretch.
Yep.
They forgot.
But the beauty of this game is that don't matter.
Right.
Right. I mean, if you gotta, you don't. You can't go up by 25 and run the clock out.
No.
Right. You got to finish someone off by being good to the end.
I was coaching a junior, and this is more of a tennis match, but he ended up winning or losing in 3 sets, but he won more games than his opponent, and he kept telling me how unfair that was. And I'm thinking, listen, you got to play. These are the rules, dude. Just get used to
Yeah.
it.
There's no clock. There's no clock in the sport.
Exactly. We don't tally it that way.
So Murphy and Ong are really. Oh, look at that little move by Tom Murphy. Do you see that? That's
Yeah.
a change in position. So he's floating back towards. I like it. I kind of like it. And then he closes in
Yep.
case they drive. So I think I'm going to go back to what I said in the first set. Scoreboard matters if you're McKnight and Bacher,
Yep.
right? You 4-2, 5-2, not good, obviously. But you're mentally, they've expended a ton of energy. They're playing great.
Yep.
They're playing good enough to win it. But
Definitely.
you got to hang around, right? You got to hang around.
Wow. What a momentum shift.
Super reset,
2-0
by the
to-
way.
What was the no-ad
4-2.
point? Was it 2-1 was the no-ad point?
I think it was.
2-1
yes.
the no-ad point
Yeah.
to go 2-2? That's right now. Oh, that was the let court.
Right.
That was the
Right,
dribbler.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember that point, depending on how the rest goes. Remember that point.
Wow. This is changed quickly, dramatically.
I do think, though, if McKnight and Bacher get a hold here, they're right back in it. Right back in it if you get a hold here.
I agree, Coach. They're not that far of an. Oh well.
It's,
Hey, I would have whiffed it altogether. I don't know why I'm laughing at it.
Quite a dramatic change.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like what Ong and Murphy did in the second set.
Exactly.
Just they couldn't get anything going, and all of a sudden this momentum is
I
shifted.
mean, I do think it'll.
Oh,
gosh.
yes.
That's an incredible
Come
shot
on.
by Tom Murphy. Great
Wow,
shot.
just rolling. Not easy to do, period, in platform, especially on an underhand serve like that. I tell you what, the pace on Andrew Ong's backhand screen drive has increased like exponentially. So he's just smacking it now. With all that top, it's not going long. I mentioned this to Coach
maybe
Matt McClure earlier, guys, in the day. when we were on.
15-40.
But it's amazing the way. So I started playing paddle back in New York like years ago, and then I stopped playing, and then I started playing again. And I just don't remember the kind of topspin we're putting on it now. That going, yeah, it did.
Let court.
Well, when you're rolling, I guess.
5 in a row.
Yep. Anyway, my point is, we say shoulder high, let it fly. I got to tell you something. Sometimes I'll look at that and look at matches, and these guys have put so much top on the ball where you could just shoulder high and let it fly, and it's still staying in, even in warmer weather. And so I think the game's changed that way. I don't know what you guys think of that idea or that concept, but it just seemed like it had to me. Anyway, I'm just seeing different shapes on some of the drives.
Oh, for sure.
I agree.
He's there.
Oh, still got it.
All right, tell me what's going to happen right here. Hold by Bacher McKnight, or
No, I don't think so.
No.
Not just because of that.
not because right when I asked it, that point went for the other
yeah,
team.
it did seem like we were kind of hedging our bet there.
Sorry, I think I said hold. Break. A break by.
A break? No.
So it's interesting. The
break. Is there
Ong and Murphy have stuck with that two-back strategy, and then Ong rushing afterwards.
Yeah.
was it maybe because they were just like, let's lob a lot and get their gas tank?
You got him.
Got him. Does that count as a peg? Or is there a MPH that has to? Does that cross an
That's
MPH
a pretty
to
weak
be a
one.
peg?
That's a weak one. Still counts.
Yeah, I think you got to cross like 39 miles per hour at least. All right, little gift. What do we got?
Rush it in there.
15:30.
Yeah.
What do I always say? Just stick around.
Yeah.
At 2-5,
Yeah.
just stick around.
Especially
That's
on
all.
platform, yeah.
Like don't go anywhere. 2-5, the match ain't over.
No.
Just stick around.
It's a nice shot.
Was that in?
Yeah, I think it went in. I think it bit. I can't believe I'm saying that because it looked like it was going long, but I think it stayed in. Yeah.
If you're Murphy Ong, I know it's obvious. I'm sorry, but you can. You're serving at 5-2. You'll be serving at 5-4.
Yeah.
But you know what? No, let's not do that. If you're them, like little freebie.
Yeah.
But let's close it out here.
Yeah, you got to kind of step on it a little bit. At least have that mentality. He tries to slice.
So two loose points.
You know what? But here's the thing, though. If I hit a slice like that, I suppose I'd try it as well. But I don't know if that was. All right.
So McKnight and Bacher sticking around.
Yep. To your point, what a forehand.
That was
So the one thing I've noticed, and hey, I don't blame them. I'd be gassed at the same point, but they're not going back for drives behind them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
There's a little bit, the tank
Yep.
is, and understandably so. I mean, McKnight and Bacher have played a phenomenal match and tournament.
This is a good idea.
I mean, this is,
right here. This is a good idea. A little Australian.
yeah, exactly. I agree with that. We tried a couple of Australians against Tom,
Yep.
and it didn't work at all. But I still like it because because I think of one thing. My serve location was not very good, and he was still crushing
Right,
whipping
but
it.
if playing normal wasn't working, why not try something different, right?
Exactly, but I totally
Wasn't
agree.
going to be worse.
Exactly. What do we got to lose, right? But Ben's serve location, I think, was better. That's why it worked there. And then Rob made the easy volley.
Well, in your defense, it's difficult as a right-hander to keep it up the middle easier, especially if somebody wants as good as Tom is to run around his backhand and hit his forehand.
So this is the first time where maybe fitness is starting to
Creep in a little bit.
Yeah, it's creeping in.
just
It's
hit
a
the
great way to
edge.
put it,
It's a
Sean. It's just creeping in a little bit.
Yeah. It's by the way, he just made that. That was just off the edge of the line, so. Oh.
No. Oh, no, deep.
I think he just missed it.
Did he
All
miss
right.
it?
Yeah, it looked like it was, if
triple
anything,
match
it might
points.
have been wide, if anything. All right, we got a match point here.
Yeah, 3 of them.
Yeah.
4 of them, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to go. They're
So
going to go
15,
conventional
40
formation
maybe?
here.
15-40, I
Yeah,
think.
give them the forehand. Figure they can handle it.
The only thing with this game is you always want someone to serve it out, right? You want to hold yours, but
Yep.
there's been a ton of breaks in this match. There's no guarantee you're going to hold.
Nope.
And
No, it's true.
that's a good, great
nice
volley.
volley.
There. Long coming in, applying
That's
There it
pressure.
is. There
So
it
we
is.
talked about
There it is, Murphy
pressure.
on.
What a match. What a tournament.
It is.
Great job, Peter Burka, Brian Panic, running the Cabin
And Ben
Fever
McKnight.
tournament.
Yes.
And
Also,
Ben McKnight.
That's right.
it's
Thank you guys, man.
you're welcome. I just want to
Pete, Noah.
congratulate Andrew Ong,
Yes.
Tom Murphy. Great tournament. They played great throughout. Ben McKnight, Rob Bacher, phenomenal performance. I mean, both teams.
good
just
effort.
Incredible talent level. Very entertaining.
Yeah.
It was fun, Noah and Sean.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Pete.
Good stuff,
A
Peter.
lot of fun
No,
working
thanks
with
for
you.
sitting
And our
in. We appreciate
statistician.
Cal Noble.
Appreciate it. What was the final count on the no-ad games? 6-4 in favor of
6-4.
Murphy Ong. So look at that. You played 17 with 26. If my math is right, 26 games were played. 10 went to the no-ad point.
Wow.
10. Now I know that's obviously that's what 40% of the rough
It
math.
is. It is.
I mean that's That's a lot. That's
It
a lot
is.
going. But I still love the format. I hope everybody else
Absolutely.
does. That's what we've been doing with the Cabin Fever. It keeps it a one-day tournament, keeps players fresher. And
I think
this
it's
was a lot of fun.
I don't know. I think it's awesome. So hope this keeps up.
Yeah.
I hope you keep hosting it too, Pete.
Yeah, I know. We've 2 years in a row now, and there's a lot of people that have said a lot of nice things. Maybe we will keep hosting it. If it wants to rotate and other people want to take it, that's fine too. But it's been very enjoyable hosting it the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, no, it's been fantastic. Well, anyway, for those of you, hey, thanks for joining us, all of you out there that possibly were watching either live or later on the live stream on YouTube, the CPTC and APTA, I should say. And thanks again to Noah Seidberg and Peter Burkhardt, Cal Nobles, to Sean Albrecht. We're signing off. Hey, have a great time. Get out and play some platform.
That's right. Thank you.
From the heart of Chicago up to the North Shore and stretching from the northwest suburbs down to Kankakee. From urgent in-office care to virtual in-home visits, we're making orthopedic care available wherever and however you need it. Because while we're adapting our lives to keep each other safe, we know that new injuries will happen and old injuries will still linger. And IBJI is here to help.
Not your bank's top priority? Here at Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. No hidden fees or runarounds, but a true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. Whether you're opening your first account, found your dream home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have the financial solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank. Wintrust, different approach.